Hey everyone! So, I don't know if you guys remember, but earlier in our lesson, we talked a little bit about living versus non living. And I showed you guys my pet rock, and it had a shelter, and we talked about if it needed things in order to live, like water and food. I also showed you guys a plant, and I mentioned if that one needed anything. So, today, I'm going to read to you guys a book called Isla, and this book is going to have a lot of examples of living versus non living things. So I want you guys to really look at the detail in the book, not just the words, but really the illustrator. He put a lot of work into this book, just like the author did. So the book is called Isla, Sequel to Abuela. It's about a girl and her grandma, and they take a trip somewhere. So be paying attention because it's a really good book. I love this book. It is a book by Arthur Doros and illustrated by Elisa Clevin. So this is the cover. I already see some stuff that you might be able to list. And I'm going to be asking some friends in a little bit what living things or non-living things they saw in the book so we can make it into a fun activity. All right, so let's see. And it has a dedication page right here. It says, Para los abuelos, Sydney and Debbie, Harry and Irene Doros, great storytellers, for the Anderson family and for Saren, with special thanks to Diana Tejada. All right, let's see. Look at that. It says, When abuela, my grandma, tells me stories, we fly anywhere. Today she's telling me about La Isla, the island where she grew up. We are flying there together. So there she goes, flying away. We travel. We travel a long, long way. So there it is always warm. Mira, abuela calls. Mi Esmeralda. I look, I see her island sparkling like a green jewel in the sea. Aire tropical. That means tropical air, says abuela, taking a deep breath. The hot, damp air smells salty. Can you guys see? There we go. And we'll be going back to the pictures just in case to reference in a little bit. We fly over forest fields and tiny towns to visit Tio Fernando, Tia Isabel, and my cousins Elena. Even though we're up high, they see us and wave. Tio Fernando is my uncle, my mama's brother. Abuela is their mother. She raised them on La Isla. You can see better. Bienvenidos. Welcome. Tio Fernando welcomes us. He and my mama grew up in this house with abuela and abuelo. My grandmother, my grandfather, abuelo died before I was born. Now Tio Fernando lives here with his family, except he has a beard. El osito, the bear. Abuela calls him the little bear. I see a lot of stuff that we can living and non-living things, so be thinking about it. Abuela shows me all around. In the front of the room, he and Abuelo used to run a little store. On the wall, next to a picture of the store, is a painting of Tio Fernando with a giant fish. ¿Qué pescado? What fish? Says Abuela, telling me what a fish it was. Tio Fernando found it in a shallow stream. He brought it home to keep for a pet. Abuela said the fish would be happier in the river. Tio Fernando was sad to see it go. So Abuela painted the picture for him. So there's the picture. Los niños, Abuela says, showing me a picture of some children. It's Mama and Tio, Uncle Fernando, playing in a fountain. Abuela and Abuelo build the fountain with stones from the rainforest. It is still in the yard. Es magia. It's magic. Abuela says. The fountain does seem magical. The water splashing over stones sounds like birds singing. Now Abuela wants to show me more of La Isla, the island. Elena says she'll meet us later at the beach. Que disfruten. Enjoy, she calls. She wants us to have fun. Vamos a la selva. Let's go to the jungle, says Abuela. We're going to the rainforest, where the fountain stones came from. There you go. We fly with parrots flapping beside us. The treetops are a bright garden. I tell Abuela, ¿Y una sombrilla? And an umbrella? Abuela says. They are an umbrella too. There we go. You see them? A lot of green in there. Down below, it is dark and cool. Como la noche, like the night. Abuela tells me, but she can scoop up a treetop frog or a lizard running on a leaf. Forest eyes are open wide. My eyes are open too. Hay mucho más que ver. There's a lot more to see. Abuela says, taking off, there is much more for us to see. We fly to the busy old city, zooming between colored buildings and over blue brick streets. Above the square, Abuela and I spin and dip for the people below. Pájaros grandes jugando, big birds playing. Abuela says and laughs. We are like big birds playing. We zoom, give me a sec. We zoom down to the harbor where the big ships are. De todo el mundo, from all the world, Abuela tells me. They come from all over the world. Mira, look. She points to the large buildings. It was made by Spanish people who sailed to the island hundreds of years ago. Abuela and Abuelo used to come to the city to buy things for their store. Ha cambiado. It has changed. Abuela sighs. The city has changed. Now there are tall buildings and parking lots and supermarkets. Vamos al viejo mercado. Let's go to the old market, she says. She wants to go to an old market. And we do go soaring above highways. To an old market in the countryside, people call out what they are selling. Plátanos, bananas. Mangos, mangoes. Papayas, papaya. Cocos, coconut. Piñas dulces, sweet pineapple, Abuela calls. When she was little, her family grew sweet pineapples to bring to the market. The market is hot and crowded. Soon we are going to cool off. Vamos a nadar. Let's go swimming, Abuela says. She used to swim here when she was my age. Then, come. She takes my hand and we dive in. All kinds of fish splash around us. Round fish, thin fish, fish with stripes, and fish with spots. Abuela leaps and dives too. Nuestro circo, our circle, she says. We have our own circus. Mi pez volador, she tells me. I'm her flying fish. Tia Isabel, Tio Fernando, and cousin Elena join us. Tio Fernando is wearing his snorkeling goggles. Ooh. Abuela jokes that he looks like a forest frog. We float on our backs and the water meets the sky. We can float anywhere. We get home. We're hungry for our swimming. Volemos. Fly, Abuela calls. We fly up into the treetop to pick ripe mangoes. Our hands get sticky from the syrupy juice. Abuela picks the ripest ones for Elena and me. We'll We'll help make a salad with mangoes and other island fruits. I'll tell Elena about what I've seen on her island. After our meal, we sit out in the garden. Birds, insects, even frogs are chirping. Nos cantan. They're singing. Abuela says they are singing to us. The plants around us smell sweet and strong. It feels like the garden is our room. With las estrellas, the stars, or ceiling, our ceiling. Ya es hora de partir, Abuela announces. It is time to go. The stars will light our way. It's done. We fly through the night, back towards home. When we see New York City, the lights look like thousands of stars. Es magia, I say to Abuela. Sí, she agrees. It's magic. After so much flying, we need to sleep. Abuela asks me what I'm thinking about. La isla, I tell her. Nuestra isla, she tells me. I do like it is our island. We can visit it any time. Pronto, Abuela says. Soon. The end. What an amazing book, boys and girls. Oh. So now that we finished this book, I want you to get a minute or two to gather all of the things because we saw a lot of things in this book about living and non-living things. And we're going to be writing those down in our chart paper that I have behind me. And we will have living versus non-living. So I'll be sticking it on there in a little bit. And we'll be working together. And then you eventually be doing it by yourself, maybe like in a nature walk or something like that. So I'm excited.